So hello everyone, welcome to the Product Intelligence Sync on the 7th of February 2023. We're gonna start with doing our check-in, and we have a new joiner today with Miles. Yeah, I'm gonna start sharing my screen. Still need to get used to this. All right, so as you all know, everyone gets 60 seconds to go through their victories, impediments, and priorities. I hope everyone has something prepared already. And we're going to start with Mikolai.
Okay, so victories. First, getting on track with my inbox after returning from the vacation. Second, unblocking the migration of the SQL to the SQL metrics of the project Jira Service active and project Jira Cloud active metrics. And finally, debugging on my own the JDK that was acting up last week and making the merge request to the GitLab repository. Impediments, this week will be a lot of context switching and different tasks, which may be quite exhausting. And I have some small Docker problem with binding the volumes on my local env, but I hope it will not be too much of a hassle. And priorities, getting sure that ClickHouse working group progress is made, prepare package for the Jihu, and debug missing metrics from the service ping issue. And that's all.
Thanks a lot, Mikolai. Then, oops. Next time we have Miha.
Okay, so as a victory, I have also listed that we have come to an agreement on how to translate the Jira active metrics to SQL. As impediments, have the fact that I've been waiting for a while for Sandbox Salesforce access, and also the discussion around Jira active metrics moving to SQL also took a bit of time, and also engagement from three teams, from us, integrations and data team. And for priorities, I want to work on this, on moving this Jira metric to SQL.
Thanks a lot, Miha. Then we're gonna move on to Sam.
All right, so in terms of victories, I got my desk assembled yesterday, so I was really excited about that. More seriously, though, we've had some really good feedback on some of the work that's been happening in the analytics stage. So not just people in our stage, but also external to the stage have made really good comments lately. I felt like we've made some really good progress on planning for the milestone, but also directionally around the Jitsu to snowplow replacement. Really excited about that. Also, victory, which I'll share more about later in the meeting. I'm excited for impediments. I have no chair for my office, so I need to fix that. Also, what we have live in production for product analytics is broken right now, and I have a demo later today, so I have to fix that. And then in terms of priorities, finishing off milestone planning for the upcoming milestones, a big one, as well as getting directional content updated to paint more of that long-term vision for the teams.
Thanks a lot. That was a close one.
Yeah.
But you got it done. All right. So now it's up to me. Quite a lot of victories this week. So I merged my first actual code MR to the backend code base. It was tiny, but nice to do that. Also got the removal of the IP address lambda change up merged. I just need to deploy it now. We have tried out Kafka in the Jitsu replacement proof of concept. We have a decision actually now there that we are gonna replace Jitsu with Snowplow, which is really nice. As some of you know, we went through compensation updates, and those are already all communicated, so that's good. Impediments, I'm also waiting for developer access to the config management repository to be able to deploy the new Lambda. So that's just a blocker right now. which kind of leads to my priority. I really want to get this deployed so that it's actually running. I want to get a better understanding of the current infrastructure for Jitsu. And I need to figure out a good way to get rid of duplicate metrics because we have quite a few of them. Yeah. And next up, it's Piotr.
Right. So for victories, I did a deep dive into ClickHouse and looking for abstraction layer solutions for a ClickHouse workgroup issue. And briefly talked with Nikolai about that as well. That's going pretty good. And I mostly unblocked automated service ping by fixing most of the SQL queries for metrics. There's still the Jira ones left. No impediments, but don't worry, I'll find something next week for sure. For priorities, I need to write down my findings and get the last mirrored metric MR through review. And that's it.
Cool. Thanks, Piotr. And now it's up to you, Miles.
Thanks. Victories this week. Still being a constant thorn in the side of PI. Just kidding. I have had a good opportunity to get to know people a little bit better and just kind of gain some understanding of the work that you all do, working with the data. Another victory is we're just starting to use the snowplow-based Redis counters for analysis. So I've been able to kind of work with that a little bit and identify some areas for iteration and collaboration between us. For impediments, there are just many, many use cases for the Redis counters, and it's hard to anticipate all the nuances and different use cases up front. So that's been tough. And then I'm also finding, like Nikolai, that there are many, many work streams right now, and the context switching is difficult between all of them. Priorities is to give quick feedback on the automated service ping metrics that you all are working on cleaning up. There's just a few left, and then ensuring that snowplow events are properly configured for analysis, sending the correct data, etc.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Miles. Do we have any volunteer to voice Nico? Not, I can do it. So Nico's victories are that he finally moved the first of the route HLL to snowplow feature flags. I think that was in for nearly a year or something. And started the work on removing the known events. Impediments is that he, I think, doesn't have the right rights yet to merge MRs as a maintainer. Still needs to sort that out. And the verifying the issue around reporting singular metric errors, there's no errors yet in there. And so he doesn't, it's hard to verify if it's working, if there's no errors, and he doesn't know if there are actually no errors or if it's just not working correctly yet. And priorities for him is going to be the known events epic. So generally working through the issues to get rid of known events. That's it, I think. So I can stop sharing my screen now. And we can move into the actual agenda. I just wanted to kind of start out with a really small suggestion around the check-in process. So we kind of wanted to iterate on that anyway. And one question was like where to write it down or when to write down the victories, impediments, and priorities. I would suggest, because some people already started doing that, to just put the victories, impediments, priorities into the agenda prior to the meeting. It feels like that makes it just easier for everyone. And it actually also makes sure that they are that they're in there, because otherwise it's easy to forget it. If we need to do it afterwards, everyone goes on their way after the meeting. So if there's no one opposed to this, then I think we could just start doing that from next time on. Okay, I see a bunch of nodding. Cool. Another one, just kind of quick announcement. So we haven't really talked about that before, but with PI, Product Intelligence Review, that's something that also Jonas and I can pick up. I just wanted to check if anyone has any reservations around this. If not, then I would add myself as a PI reviewer and then probably also Jonas quite soon, which just might mean that either of us might tag either of the other reviewers if there's any kind of more deep questions. But I think we can try this to also spread out the load a bit more and to expose everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. You can just ping the engineers group, I suppose, if you find anything difficult.
Cool. Nice. Thanks. Then I think we can move on to Sam.
All right, so I have something very exciting to share. We are going to be hiring a new product manager for the product intelligence group. Her name is Tanuja, and she's based out of Melbourne, Australia, and she'll be starting April 2nd with the group. It took a little bit longer than we would have wanted, but I'm really excited to be bringing her on to work with you all full time. This is really a good nod to how important product intelligence group is, that we were able to get someone in before some of the other open roles were filled, so that you'll have someone to work on just product intelligence full time, as opposed to me splitting my time sort of between two groups. So yeah, again, she'll be starting April 2nd. Once she's on board, feel free to set up coffee chats, all that, help her get onboarded up to speed. And yeah, I'm really excited. So hopefully you all are as well. And Mikla, I will still be around. I will not be disappearing. So I'll probably join most calls with her for at least the first few weeks or month. But then I'll drop in every once in a while to say hi. Probably start attending the social calls more often.
We still have a few months to annoy Sam. I think it's still until April.
There you go. My internet's breaking up. Gotta go. Miles, over to you.
Great. Yeah. Just wanted to take a moment to say hi to everyone. I don't know if I've been on a sync call with everyone before, but Miles, I'm an analytics engineer on the data team, and I'm working mostly on the R&D side. So I'm mostly helping both the product data and insights team and the customer success ops team with all the product data that they need. So that's how I came to be working with you all. So I just want to give a little bit of context on how we're using this data. Specifically on the customer success side, we obviously have a self-managed product and we have our SaaS product. And the way that we do health scoring for our customers is, for SM customers, we're just using service ping data. We pick out a few metrics that relate to important value propositions or stages within the product, and we kind of build out a range of what's healthy use and unhealthy use, and we pump those scorecard data into a tool called Gainsight. And our customer success managers, when they're having conversations with the customers, like check-ins, they'll pull up that scorecard and say, "Hey, we noticed you're using this area of the product a lot. That's great. You're not using this area of the product very much. Are you having any trouble? Let's build a plan for how we can help you get more value out of that area of the product." So for SM customers, we're just using purely service ping data. For SaaS customers, we're doing something kind of fancy. So we've been able to write SQL queries on GitLab.com tables that kind of mimic the service ping queries. But for the Redis-based metrics, obviously we can't do that. So that's why we're relying on these Snowplow-based Redis counters for that data. And in order to make these counters relevant for the customer success managers or CSMs, we need to be able to aggregate at the namespace level. And so I just want to give a little context on that, because there's a couple issues where we're talking about, like, the use cases for these metrics, and some of them, like I know Sebastian and Mikal and I have been talking about, where namespace, like where it should be populated, different types of like actions, maybe aren't associated with the namespace, depending on the nature of the action itself. Is it actually housed within any particular instance, or is it kind of just site-wide? So I just wanted to give some background on the use cases, and happy to set up a separate call synchronously if you all want to discuss it more, or if you just want to message me or spin up an issue to learn more, you can also do that. But hoping to join more PI calls more often to just increase our collaboration. Thank you.
Awesome, Miles. Thanks for sharing. It's always really interesting to learn for different use cases, and it always helps us to have a better awareness and better design the features if we know the end use cases. And I just wanted to make sure and double check, because from what you described, this kind of customer health analysis seems similar to the use case that Martin Brummer shared a couple weeks ago. And I just wanted to ask if this is things that are connected. And if not, it may be worth to just like have a coffee chat and cross-share, because he shared somewhat similar story about discussing how customers utilize their self-managed instances.
Yeah, thanks, Nikolai. I'm not aware of the thread that Martin was talking about. I'll have to find that and see if it's related. Looks like he's a senior customer success engineer, so probably is related in some way. I'll have to find that thread and take a look at it. I'm not sure at the moment though.
I think we have recorded presentation. Yeah, go Basti.
Yeah, and yeah, there's a recorded presentation. We can share it afterwards, because I think it still might be interesting to you also, Miles. But I can maybe shed a bit of light on here, because I also talked a bit more with Martin. So he built also a tool. I think it's called Service Ping Analysis Engine, which does a bit more elaborate things than what is possible in Gainsight currently, and especially which also works with data that is being sent from customers directly. So both of them use this health scoring system, and I think he even copied some of the health scoring metrics from Gainsight into his own tool. The advantage of his own tool is that they can just, as the customer support or success engineers, they can just take a service ping payload that they get directly from the customers. They don't need to upload it into our system, so it stays with the customer success engine. It's just used this once to kind of put it into an analysis, or even kind of they can just give the tool to a customer and tell them, okay, hey, just use this tool, upload your service ping output or your payload into it, and you can kind of see the same thing that is available in Gainsight, in the sense of having some kind of health scoring around, okay, how do you use certain things? Because there are customers where we just don't get that data because of being air gapped or those kinds of things. And as far as I know, also it's just more flexible than Gainsight.
Yes, thank you for that context. I think I've actually heard of that tool before. Now it's ringing a bell. So I've not been able to work with that tool, but it is a very interesting tool, because obviously like product analytics is like a huge part of what we're interested in building. So that is kind of starting to get at that. I'll have to bring this up with the customer success ops team, who is kind of who I'm working with, and I'm sure they're aware of it. I'm not sure. There's probably a reason why they haven't kind of coalesced to that solution. I'm not sure of that reason, but I'll bring it up with them. And yeah, there might be an opportunity here for some greater cross-functional collaboration and unification into a single kind of methodology.
Yeah, definitely. I think Martin even brought it up recently to kind of build some of this functionality, for example, some of the same graphs into Sisense instead of having them in the separate tool.
Yeah, another thing we're discussing separately with the customer success ops team is Gainsight even the right tool? Because like we have Tableau, we have Sisense, we have Gainsight, we're building product analytics. Like what is the right way to operationalize this data for like CSMs? What's the right way to show it to customers? So on and so forth. So this all seems very related and relevant.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. One more bit of comment, just when on the note of sharing the contact points for different use cases that may be related. I also want to share the reference to Jay Stemmer. I don't know, Miles, if you have discussed with him, but a couple months ago he ran machine learning project to detect most important service ping metrics, and I believe also somewhat with the snowplow data to discover the most important metrics that decide whether the instance upgrades for the paid tiers. So it also might be interesting to, I don't know, have the three-side coffee chat to discuss like how they came to this metrics or that systems, and there may be insights to be gained from cross-group collaboration. So I just wanted to share the contact points.
Absolutely, that's a great call out. I think the CS Ops team and Jay, they're aware of each other's work, and I think they've had some collaboration. Unfortunately, I'm not sure like what came out of those conversations. I'm more like, my job is more to like hook up the pipes and make sure like the data appears where it's supposed to appear in the format it's supposed to appear in. So, but yeah, there's definitely like a lot of kind of duplicated analysis or related analysis, and we can probably get better as like an organization about telling one story that's comprehensive as opposed to like a little story over here, a little story over here, and another one over here. I think you're all hitting on that really well.
Thanks a lot, Miles. I think we're definitely going to profit also from this kind of more deep interaction between each other to make sure that we're kind of everyone understands what the use cases are and why we're doing the things that we're doing. So it's really nice to have you here, and I'm looking forward to have you take part in this more often. We're definitely gonna gain a lot from this. So the next thing is from me, just because I mentioned it previously and it has a bit of an impact on it. So this is kind of fresh off the press. We have a decision around Snowplow as a Jitsi replacement. You might be aware that we did a proof of concept around this. But now since Tim is back and discussed further, so we're gonna replace Jitsi with Snowplow. And there's not like already a roadmap or anything like on how we're gonna achieve this. This is something that I'm going to need to talk to Dennis about, and we're generally going to figure out also towards the next milestone. But what this means for us in general is that this is kind of a big opportunity for us, or also to get closer to the product analytics team. In the long run, the idea is that product intelligence takes care of the event ingestion part, whereas product analytics is more kind of displaying the events, showcasing them inside of the GitLab experience. And so this will also mean that throughout this, we're going to probably take more and more control of this kind of ingestion infrastructure, whereas right now Jitsi is completely under the control of product analytics, and they're building that. With this transition to Snowplow, that's going to be meaning us taking more and more ownership and more responsibilities around this whole thing. I think it's pretty positive because it meshes really well with the infrastructure that we already have. We run a big Snowplow pipeline, so we know how it works. But there's also going to be a lot more challenges on making it portable and so on. But yeah, more information is going to come soon, I think. But I just wanted to make you already aware of that.
Yeah, that's really great news, at least in my view. Thanks for sharing, and I'm happy that it went that direction. And I absolutely concur that this is a great opportunity to bring the collaboration closer between two groups in our stage, because right now it was a little bit disjointed. So right now we may have more like common ground, which sounds awesome.
Cool. Then I would directly hand over to you again, Mikolai, because my thing can be just read only.
Okay. Cool. So recently there was a lot of PI reviews, and I thought that I may share like the points and things I learned and apply to myself in order to be a little bit more efficient when I deal with the different reviews, mostly backend and product intelligence. Those are my points. So they may work or may not work for you. Just wanted to vocalize in order it may help somebody. So the first thing is that when I do reviews at the beginning, I was focusing on the overall shape, like looking the database, looking the backend, looking the product intelligence side. But because we have dedicated processes, dedicated pipelines, and oftentimes this two-step pipeline, so when the merge request has backend review, there will be two reviewers apart from the product intelligence. So it's not really that efficient to review backend as well. So right now I focus mostly on the domain I'm assigned to. When I'm assigned to product intelligence, I just skip over and don't really read into the backend style and the backend quirks. And I check if the requirements for the product intelligence are fulfilled. So like I check the metrics YAML file. I check if the instrumentation code is placed as it should be, but I don't really go inside sometimes on the database side, and sometimes only like ask, okay, please give the metrics query plans and check, okay, it's under 1 second, so it's within our guidelines, but I don't go into the how to optimize it if not really pulled up to the table as an expert. So this is like the first point I wanted to share. And then on that note, I also want to share that it's okay to not know everything. And it applies broadly, not only to the PI, but also to the backend side. Even as the backend maintainer for quite a long time, there are places and domains I don't feel very comfortable. And it's okay to ask another domain expert. It's even stated in our code review guidelines that it's okay to loop the experts into the review. So if you feel like, oh, I'm not an expert on this side and it would be better to loop somebody else, it may be more efficient because for them it could be just glance over and you may spend like 2-3 days diving into documentation. And in the end, don't feel really comfortable approving the change. And finally, the final general point, it's okay to reject merge request or reject the contribution when it's not fulfilled the definition of done. So for the product intelligence, the most important part would be like when you see like, I don't know, 10 metrics being added within one merge request, when they're not necessarily have to be added. If they could be added one by one, it's okay to see, okay, this is like 1,000 lines of code. Even if it's just simple YAML, it could be very daunting and intimidating to review them. So it's okay to say, hey, our guidelines say that you shouldn't do 10 things at once. Please do one thing. Follow our guidelines, split the merge request, then assign me, and then I will review it. It's okay to do so. And you can also always support you with the, again, link to our code review guidelines when asking to split the MR. And finally, the handful of tips and tricks which I use. So for example, there's multiple files which are similar, so like multiple metrics YAML definitions in the merge request. I tend to use the single file mode in the review, and then switch between the different files with the keyboard shortcuts. It helped me to stay focused on the file that I'm reviewing and speed up the review process. I also mark the files that I reviewed as viewed. So when the merge request came back after some concerns are resolved, I don't have to look again into the files that haven't been changed. I use the tools like the diffchecker.com to check the difference between different files. If there are a lot of contents, like, I don't know, the fixture has been changed. And finally, I tend to use a lot of quick actions to manage, for example, the labels changes, assignments, because sometimes the UI can be a little bit slow to click over different labels. So just dropping a bunch of changes with one quick action tends to help me be more efficient. This is the handful tips and tricks and points I learned. I hope somebody will find them useful. If not, then, well, I took a couple minutes of your time.
Thanks for the tips. They're definitely helpful.
Same here. So we're at time. I'm just wondering, since the question from Piotr also might affect actually Miles, and we have him here now, should we kind of quickly try to answer this or move it to Slack?
Let's just do this. I think it's not much. It's not that important.
Okay, then, but feel free to add it to Slack then. I think, because I don't know if there's like a specific issue to add it on. We can also just discuss this in Slack and involve everyone that's needed there. Cool. Then, thanks a lot, everyone, and have a nice rest of your day.
Thanks, bye-bye.